Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
We almost got our tuchus plunged.
Yeah. This is
all the
episode
way
257, recorded April 17th, 2024.
Gruesome Magazine.
It's nothing worse than a partially plunged tuchus.
Well, you lose suction sometimes, you know.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay.
My name is Jeff Mohr, and this podcast is about horror films released between 1980 and 1989. Each episode, my co-hosts Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt and I will tackle another classic or not so classic hint film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome.
Speak for yourself. Like, what on earth?
Of course. Well, joining me tonight is Crystal Cleveland, the living dead girl and co-host of the Gruesome Magazine podcast. Crystal, how you doing?
I'm fabulous. Thank you. I think this is going to be fun, I guess. I didn't realize this would be so polarizing.
Wow.
But leave it to me to be the odd person out.
Oh, no, no. I thought you would love this. So that's that's not it. It's really kind of about how the movie was made. But moving on. Joining us is Chad Hunt, McGarter's co-host of Decades of Horror, the All of Them. And back for his second round of anyway. How you doing, Chad?
I'm good, I think. I didn't know where you were going with that, but
that's why I quit. And
gotta respect a man who knows when he's
right.
You know, he's falling apart and just quit.
I was lost. Also with us, last but not least, is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, special effects guru, and co-host of Decades of Horror, the 1970s, and a published author.
Oh,
he stays spewing offense guru.
Yeah,
I said
when I'm not doing the Ferks, I like to write books like Ralph.
But those are Ferks are time.
Very time consuming.
All right, you're doing good, eh?
Yes.
I also agree that Crystal is fabulous. Okay. So yes, we're all.
Chad. Boo! I don't know.
Decades of Horror and Gruesome Magazine are partnering with Play Now Media on several of their streaming channels. And in fact, Decades of Horror, the 1980s and the 1970s and the classic era are on the Wicked Horror TV channel. And in fact, we'll find out our next episode will be covering a movie that's only on Wicked Horror TV. So check those out. You can subscribe for a monthly fee and get to see all the content without commercials, or you can just subscribe and don't pay the fee, and you get some ads, and you'll be missing out on some of the premium content. But I love going on there and picking a decade and scrolling through it, and that's how I found our next pick. So
very good.
So there, everybody. All right. On this podcast, we start by giving some basic details of the film we are covering, followed by each of our first impressions of the movie, and then we do some taglines, and then we move into a general discussion about whatever trips our trigger. And boy, does this movie have a lot to talk about. So our topic today is Spookies, and directed by Genie Joseph, credited as Eugenie Joseph, and Thomas Doran and Brendan Faulkner. And that's for the footage from the unfinished film Twisted Souls, which we'll give a little more detail about that later. The writers for the Twisted Souls footage screenplay, Thomas Doran, Frank Farrell, and Brendan Faulkner, with additional material by Anne Burgund, writing as Joseph Burgund. The cast includes Peter Dane, Nick Gianta, Lisa Freedy, Joan Ellen Delaney, Peter Iasello Jr., Kim Merrill, Charlotte Alexandra, Anthony Valbero, I heard her name pronounced Sopaque, and Al Magliochetti. And the gentleman there pictured is Peter Iasello Jr., who was sort of the comic relief in this movie.
Sorta.
To an extent. This production companies, once again, Twisted Souls Inc. for the unfinished film Twisted Souls, and the Miggles Corporation NV, who is the copyright holder, and Sapphire Films. It was filmed in Rye, New York, which, looking at my trusty Google Maps, is right there on the ocean at the border of Connecticut, very close to.
Okay.
Filming dates, August 17th through October 1984, and that's for the Twisted Souls part. It was released in France at a couple of film festivals in 1986, and finally got a U.S. release in January 22nd, 1988. The budget, this is a wild guess. In an interview I saw, one of the special effects guys said, I thought it was about $500,000. Nobody else mentions a budget, so I don't know. Domestic box office, 17,785.
Whoosh.
So
That
limited
ain't good.
release.
Yeah.
A synopsis: a wicked sorcerer tries to sacrifice a group of people inside his house with the intention of using their vitality to keep his wife alive.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So I just passed over these. I was going to switch through these, but I also had that thing, which was kind of cool. It was kind of a cool skill.
Lots of cool monsters. Yeah. Nope.
And there's another one. The wormy creature or something. Anyway. All right. Well, it is now time for first impressions on Spooky, and this is Chad's pick, so he gets to go first.
Yay!
Yay!
Explain yourself, young man.
I don't have an explanation. I saw this. It came up on Shudder. It was available, and it was from the 80s, and I've never seen it before. And as you know, I'm not afraid to pick bad movies.
Yeah.
So and it looked like it was cheaply made and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really know what to expect going in, and this is a horrible, terrible movie, and and cheaply made. But having said that, though, I had fun watching it.
Okay, good.
And I was laughing at some of the creatures. I was laughing at some of the characters. I just had fun watching it. It was like if your buddies get together and hey, let's go to Spirit Halloween and get a few costumes and fake blood and do a movie this weekend type of thing. And that's what it felt like. It was just like whoever made it had fun making it. You can tell. Even though there were a few things that aggravated me, like the cat dude.
Yeah.
What was his purpose? I think his makeup turned out the best. So they were like, well, let's give him the most screen time, out of all the characters. But yeah, I had fun watching it, and then I'm glad I did. Had some cool creatures like we talked about, and yeah, I had fun. What can I say?
All righty. Okay. Well, let's hear what Crystal has to say about Spookies.
So I've never seen this film either. And so I don't get this, y'all. How is it? None of us, this is our first time, all of us watching it, right? Isn't it?
Yep.
What on earth? How is this our first time? Because this movie is quality to me. For the 80s, this is a quality. You know what? Don't laugh at me. I see you over there on the side there. This is
very
quality.
80s. Mm-hmm.
Like I was shocked at how many effects they had in this film. Mind blown. And okay, so the story is silly, but it's no sillier than any Giallo film that you watch that actually really doesn't make sense. It does have a Giallo feel to it, though, at points for sure, and the way it's shot and some stuff. The music is like tonally awkward. It's just an 80s film. Totally, like through and through. And like I thought it was actually really good. I was like, well, this is actually a decent. I've never heard of it, and I've definitely never seen it, so I'm surprised. apparently y'all have something to say about the film, about production or something. So maybe
Yeah.
there's just something that I'm totally missing here, because I'm like, this was a good film. It was quality. There lots and lots of different types of effects. I mean, it was kind of odd, some of the scenes, but not bad. It was funny. I mean, they have like fart monsters, which is hilarious.
I laughed my ass off.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
dying. And I was like, and then there's this like screaming scene where these two run out and they're,
There should have been a tagline: "You smell them before they get there."
yeah,
You smell them
like,
coming, or something. Yeah.
It's crazy because they full on make all these fart sounds. And I was like, I thought that's like the funniest thing I've seen. I liked it. I mean, is it a great film? Oh, absolutely not. But if you like crappy 80s films, I think you're going to like this film. And I did. I can't wait to find out what they're about to say. Now I'm really more interested in what they're going to say about apparently production. Because I'm like, how has this never been on my radar? And how has this not been on y'all's radar too? That's odd to me. So clearly there's something going on.
Yeah, I've never heard of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. You did not disappoint me, Crystal. So, Bill,
Yeah.
had you seen Spookies before, or had you even heard of it?
Okay, so when you said we were going to watch Spookies, somehow I got it in my head. I got it confused with Ghoulies. Basically movies that sound like breakfast cereals. But I'd never seen it before, but I had seen the cover because it's by Richard Corbin, who is one of my favorite, heavy metal type underground artists. He had really cool style and everything. I wish he did more posters. But watching this, Crystal's right, definitely right about one thing. This is an 80s movie. This movie should be wearing a t-shirt. I survived the 80s and all I got out of it was this lousy movie. This movie is so 80s. It's so 80s when I was watching it. I was like, is this Canadian? Because it's kind of got that crazy Canadian 80s movie vibe to it.
True.
But then the more I watched it, the more I was like, I know exactly what this is. This is what happens when a movie gets 3/4 of the way done and then everybody dies of Ebola or something and they have to come up with this padding to get it out to a length. So we got this little kid. Usually the padding shows up in the middle or so, but we open little kid birthday party, meets a cat creature, chases him around for a while, buries him alive, never see him again. What the hell was that? I'm trying to put things together. It's like the cat guy keeps showing up, but he's obviously never actually in the scene with the people.
He's there to hold all the doors shut.
So I was 100% sure I had this picture figured out because I've seen a lot of movies like that. And then I look up and there's people saying, yeah, it's 2 unfinished movies put together. And then there's the filmmakers who are like, hell it is. No, they say it wasn't. No, it's worse. Way worse for anyone like you, like I, who have worked on an indie film. These guys were making this movie. Would it have been great? Probably not, but it would have had a lot of monsters in it. And that's all cool. And then production shut down for just a little bit. And when they came back, the producer had more or less shuffled them off and hired a porn director to come in and shoot some other scenes.
Oh, not even a porn director, a porn star.
Oh, well,
wanted to be a director.
Oh, well, good for her. Good for her. And then these poor guys who are still bitter about it, even though this guy is dead.
Oh my God.
Dead. If you say his name, they spit on the ground and curse his soul. He's the one who put in the fart sounds. The first time they knew that was going to happen was when they saw the movie, and they were like, "Can you imagine? Just you put your life, you put your soul into this film. It's your shot to show how good you are." And then someone comes along and dick with it. And now your name is still on this. Then they're like, "Oh, you're the one who made the fart monsters. Interesting choice." It's like, no, that wasn't my choice. This film is kind of heartbreaking from that thing. That said, it's got a lot of monsters, and the monsters are pretty good. They are pretty good. The effects are not bad. It doesn't have any story worth talking about. I don't know why these people were together.
All together. I know.
They don't seem like a bunch of folks who would hang out and do anything. They don't seem to, just a random assortment. There's a wizard. He's off. He's trying to bring his wife back to life, but she hates him. So she gets chased by zombies for about 15 minutes. The zombies are good. They're kind of a little too clean for being in the ground, but they're pretty cool. But that scene just went on and on and on and on and on.
Oh, yeah.
This movie felt longer than it was. Again, that being said, the effects are good. They spent what little money they had, they spent on the monsters. And that's cool. It's memorable. It is a train wreck. But train wrecks are fun. You know, people say, "Oh, that movie was a train wreck," and like, "Oh, no. It did not come up even to the level of train wreck." Who doesn't love a good train wreck? You told me there's a train wreck at 5:00. I'm going to be there with my camera.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a train wreck because it's got a lot of cool things in it. But it's nuts. It's just absolutely nuts. So although I feel bad for the filmmakers, they did not go on to do a whole lot else. And I'm not surprised, because if your first experience is as miserable as having this happen to you, it can kind of hurt. But they did end up, I mean, they got to say this, there's a lot of 80s stuff out there that is not memorable.
Yes.
And I don't think I'm going to be able to forget this one.
Yeah.
You know, it's watchable. It's compellingly watchable. Yeah. But it ain't good.
All right. So
that's debatable.
If I should even... So here's how. So I watched
the Blu-ray.
All right. So I got the Blu-ray from Vinegar
Oh
Syndrome.
my God, he did.
My
oh my
Now
God.
listen to me.
Oh my God, I can't.
There's like 3 hours of extras on this thing.
Oh, that's cool.
There's an hour and 40-minute commentary called Twisted Tale, the Unmaking of Spookies.
Ooh.
Which is all the guys that got
Yikes,
booted
that's
bitching
too
about
Yeah.
the guy that booted him. And then there's a 2-hour special on Vipco, the British company that Michael Lee, the producer, ran, that was like the biggest video nasty guy. And then other stuff. But anyway, it was really, I found it very interesting. So the documentary about the unmaking of Spookies starts off, and I'm going to read this only because it's from the Des Moines Register. They used to have a movie critic named Joan Buck. So on January 14th, 1988, she wrote a review of Spookies. And the beginning of this documentary starts with this quote: "Rarely, even in horror movies, has there been such a gathering of ineptitude under one title."
Wow.
Actually,
That's true.
Spookies
That's
originally
wonderful.
was titled Twisted Souls, but that's another story. And fortunately for us, nobody's telling it. And then the documentary goes on to tell it. But so, wow, this guy, Michael Lee, that ran Vipco, are you familiar with him, Bill?
You know, just the video nasty part, that apparently he did these films and everything and thought, hey,
Yeah.
I want one of those.
So after a long bunch of wrangling and stuff, they had a connection to him. They went to him to try to make the movie. He said, "Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I want to do a movie with you." Then they didn't hear from him for months. Then they said, "Well, I'll tell you what, I got a movie I want you to finish, and then you can make your movie." And they said, "No, how about we make our movie and then we'll finish yours?" Well, no, we can't do that. Well, then he sent them footage of his movie, and it was pure crap. They show clips from this thing, and it is, oh my God, you couldn't possibly believe it. And then finally he comes around and says he'll do their movie, but then he right away is telling them, you know, he's into, one of the things he brags to them about,
oh God,
is stealing other people's movies and becoming a millionaire. This was, he found a cheap way to reproduce these videotapes, and he says right in his interview that he stole like 600 films, and it made him a millionaire. And by the third year, he made £1.5 million and built himself a house on Millionaires Row, someplace in that they called in England, 6,000 square feet, and paid for no payment. So anyway, this is the kind of guy we're dealing with.
You know,
he brags about that.
Just to say, I mean, I feel bad for these guys, but you know, if someone wants to work with you and they openly tell you that they're a con artist,
well, they already signed up. They were already signed up by then.
Yeah,
and the contract was pretty ironclad in that. In that he could fire them at will. You know,
sure.
So,
oh yeah, I'm sure it was.
So they went for a while. They filmed about half of it, and he kind of left him alone. Then he shows up. He comes over from England and starts bugging them and telling them stuff like, he's everybody I saw on this special about Vipco said he knows nothing about making movies. He didn't know anything about making movies. He just knew that he could make money off of these, and he would give them different names. Like he's the one that called, I think he called Fulci zombie flesh eaters or something like that, or one of those weird titles. So he would change the titles, cut them, release them in different versions. There would be the strong uncut version, and then I guess the weak cut version. I don't know. Just it's unbelievable the stuff this guy did. But anyway, he shows up and he starts sticking himself into the production and telling them what camera lens to use and shit like that. And the cinematographer is like not having any of it. And then he keeps telling them. At one time he shows up and goes, "Hey, I got great news.
Oh, no.
I got a gorilla suit." And they go, "What? I got access to a gorilla suit."
Okay, this is actually funny. This is stuff that does happen on indie sets. Okay,
Yeah,
what are we going to do with that, y'all? What are we going to do with it? Yep.
Just stick him in there somewhere.
We got to
just
figure it out. We got to fit it in here somehow.
But they got him away. The director,
That's
one of the
hilarious.
directors says, I said, "Let's go outside and talk about it." And he let him go out first, and then he shut the door and locked.
That works once.
It worked once. So anyway, as time went on, they were done filming and they were working on the editing, and they were having some difficulty editing. But he came in and they had a 2.5 hour rough cut. They basically said it was basically an assembly of scenes. They hadn't really done much to it. And this guy, not understanding movie making really at all, took that and showed it to a distributor to try to sell it. And then he came back and told them how terrible it was. It was way too slow. This was a Hong Kong distributor. They need fast paced stuff. And so
yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, that's not the finished cut," So somewhere along the line, as time went on and they're editing and stuff, everybody would have a knockdown, drag out fight with this guy and quit, to where there was nobody there. So then he hires this Eugenie Joseph, who had been in some porn films, and actually she was in some of those. I forget what they call them now. Are they knockoffs or the porn parodies? She was in Flash Pants.
Flash Pants? That's
Flash Pants. TNA Team.
The TNA Team.
And First Time at Cherry High. Anyway, she was in this building where they were doing the editing for some reason and started talking to this guy, and pretty soon she's directing the movie.
It's crazy. They've
got to go back and do some other stuff because it's unsalvageable according to them. And so they rewrite it, put all these stuff in. That's why there's a whole sections where the original actors don't show up. So any scene that's got Billy, the cat guy, the wizard's kid, the wizard's wife, and all those zombies at the end was not in the original cut. Was not even in the story.
That's no surprise.
Yeah.
So
not really.
Every time they cut, there's that whole bunch of sequences where they're alternating cuts and showing they're going through something, and then you hear a noise, and then they show the cat guy hiding around the corner or something.
Yeah. Honestly, don't you think a movie about the making of this movie would be a much better movie?
Yeah. It is.
That's hilarious, actually.
And the guys that originally made it, they called this guy, they call Michael Lee every dirty name in the book. In fact, they said, "Well, he's dead now, but I hope he's burning in hell." And
Jesus,
holy shit, that was on tape.
Some scars
like
never heal.
This for the camera.
Yeah.
So they were so mad at him because these guys, just like Bill said, they were looking at this as this was their chance. Okay, this isn't going to be a great movie, but this will be good enough that it'll get us to our next one. Not.
It was going to make more than $17,000 in their minds.
So it was basically all the post-production and that extra filming that was done by these new guys. The original crew didn't do hardly any of the post-production. And I need to ask you guys that have been involved in filmmaking. They had the people that worked in the effects on this are big names.
Yes.
Early in their career, but big names. And the actual creatures look great. but the way they're shot looks like crap
it
to me.
didn't show them off at their best.
Well, they're like too light, and then they're too dry.
They weren't lit right. A lot of them
weren't lit right, and all.
A lot of the
and
detail
I don't know.
gets
Can you
lost.
fix that lighting in post
No,
production?
not in post. Oh,
okay.
No,
No.
well,
maybe
now you could.
Now you could.
Yeah, now
No,
you can.
Back
Probably
then,
not
no.
then. Anyway, so they complained a lot about that. They went to this movie. They had no idea when the movie came out. They're looking at this little boy's running across this cemetery, and they're going, "Who the hell is he?"
What they did? Are you serious?
Well,
Like they didn't know.
They shot it in '84, and it didn't come out till '88.
That's crazy.
So anyway,
Yikes! In a way.
Yeah. I mean, even some of the little effects, like when the wizard is ranting and raving, and that one vein on his head is throbbing.
Yeah,
that was actually really well done because obviously it's an appliance put on there, but usually you could see the edges. If I did it, you could definitely see the edges. I'm not the best edge guy on the earth, but that was excellently done. It was a cheap effect, but it looked good. They kind of held it on for a little too long and everything, and you got tired of it, but that's par for the course. But every effect in here is good. The monsters are well designed. You're right. They're not filmed perfectly well, but
I just remember watching this going, how did I not know about this? These look cool. Like it, I guess maybe a lot of it was my expectations were very low. The fact that none of us had seen this film does not bode well for this film.
No, it doesn't.
I thought we were in for like a Ghoulies ripoff.
Yeah,
big time. Like
that. Yeah.
Well, it's become kind of legendary just because of all these problems with production, and especially since I think the documentary was shot in like 2019. I don't know exactly when the Vinegar Syndrome documentary came out, but or Blu-ray came out, but that's when people would get access to it. But it was interesting. They go through bitching about Michael Lee, but they also go through the casting and the scenes and stuff that got cut out and why it doesn't. So think about it as you're looking at stuff that happens to that original group of people in those two cars. Whenever there was something that didn't make sense, it probably got cut out. Because there was originally 2.5 hours of footage. They ended up with 42 minutes of that and 43 minutes of the new footage, which again, the old directors are like going, they did that on purpose just to stick it, They had 1 more minute of film in there. Oh my God, it was crazy.
See, now I really do want to get the Blu-ray because that those extras sound a whole lot of fun.
It's on YouTube.
Oh, there you go.
The twisted history behind Spookies.
Well,
it's Twisted Soul, the unmaking of Spookies.
Then there's an hour and 40-minute behind the scenes featurette.
That's how long it was. Yeah.
So all right. It's on YouTube.
And then I think, Bill, you would enjoy there's like a 2-hour thing on Vipco, which at some point he got the clue from his lawyer. You got to quit stealing those movies or you're going to jail. And
some of these movies are made.
Okay, so then I started making deals and paying for them.
I think I'd be more. Some of these movies are financed by the mob, and they don't take kindly to being ripped off. They're kind of
Well, he released Shogun Assassins was one of the ones he really did it over in Britain,
Oh, okay. I'll give him credit for that because Shogun Assassin is one of my favorite movies.
And he did a marketing scheme, which is I didn't quite follow this.
That's
well, awesome. He was saying that 180-minute videotape there would cost at this time was like I thought he was saying it was like £7, which seems expensive. That'd be a 3-hour videotape. And they had a process. They would literally copy the film over and then sell it with a special attraction that you could record over it if you wanted to. In other words, they didn't break the tab off, I guess.
Oh.
So we're going to sell you this. And guess what? Not only do you get a movie, but you get a videotape you can use when you're done watching this.
What?
For like $9. For $9.
Weird.
For £9, I guess. £9. So, and that worked really well. We sold a lot of those. So, anyway, so the try to get
Wow.
scroll down to this because we got to mention this. The makeup department is Jennifer Aspinall. If you look her up, she won a couple Emmys. Say that?
Street Trash, yeah.
A couple Emmys for Mad TV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, neat.
And she, just look at her. So she's had a long, ongoing, successful career in effects. Gabe Bartalos, who also has done a ton of good stuff.
He's worked on everything: Army of the Dead, Darkman, Godzilla, Leprechaun. Wow.
Yeah.
And as best I looked this up, I asked Ralph Miller about this because I couldn't find, it didn't have his name and didn't have his birth date in IMDb or Wikipedia, but someplace where I searched it, it said he was born in 1970. And I'm going, he was 14 when he made this film. And Ralph said it could be. A lot of guys got started really young that were into this stuff. And if they were,
sure,
the film was,
what?
It was filmed where he lived, in the county where he lived. So,
if I were 14 years old,
he was working on Day of the Dead at the same time with Savini.
Oh, lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Anyway, Vincent Guastini, who was hired by John Dodds to help him out, and he said he saved his life. And you look at his credits, it's unbelievable. One of the things I saw recently is he was involved in the anthology called Dark Tapes that came out maybe 5-6 years ago, which I really liked. He did some of the effects, and I think he might even have wrote or directed one of the segments. And then John Dodds, who is the guy that did Deadly Spawn.
I was familiar with John Dodds because I used to love a magazine called Cinemagic back in the day. And he did some stop motion animation, wrote articles about that. So he's an old hero.
Oh, and then he went on to Broadway. If you remember when we talked about Deadly Spawn, and had a long career doing like Beauty and the Beast. And I think seemed like there was another Disney-based musical that he was involved in. Anyway, so yeah, these guys were awesome. And then there was a guy named Ken Walker that was animation. Well, so I don't know if you saw it, Bill, but there was a picture of what the spider creature, the final version of that, was supposed to be.
Well, yeah, I think I might have that in the in the graphics.
And Vincent Guastini made it and had it all set up, and they decided not to do it because they didn't have the money for the stop motion.
God.
Anyway, all right. Now let's get back to the regular stuff. That just blew me away. There is a little bit of thread here. So the original story was they go to this house, they find this Ouija board, and you couldn't really see it, but there were creatures pasted around the outside of the board. And those are the things that came to life.
Oh,
and
okay.
Was attacking
I didn't realize that.
And then and they were gonna, at one point they were supposed to like materialize out of the board, but of course they didn't have the money for the effects for that. So
no, of course that got cut out because that would add to a storyline.
So that's what they were fighting, this board that it lived in this house with these spirits and blah blah blah. And they had this wizard character that just sort of going, what the hell's this board? I guess. Anyway, it's so much fun. So let's. Oh wait,
Spookies.
Almost forgot.
Oh, we almost forgot. Yeah.
Oh, tagline with Chad.
I wish you had went ahead and said
now it's time for taglines with Chad.
Oh my God.
Jesus, we're all right.
Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this.
No.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Your taglines for the movie Spookies are as follows.
Oh, great.
The ultimate in fright and fun.
Wow.
Okay.
Both of them.
Yeah.
You got your fright and your fun. This is the ultimate of both of those.
Double F.
It is written, evil will inherit the earth and laughter will echo throughout the universe.
Okay.
Okay.
Spookies.
No.
They really overestimated how funny they thought this was.
Yep.
Gremlins chased you. Ghoulies terrified you. Now beg for your life.
Okay.
It's Spookies.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Man.
Now,
Oh, so yeah, there's a reference to what Bill was thinking about ghoulies. Yeah. They do
Yeah.
that.
A night of unrelenting terror.
Oh, what happened to the laughs?
I know. So generic.
They also want your blood.
Your blood.
Not his blood. Your blood with a capital your.
So bad.
Oh my God. The Spookies are coming.
That's probably my favorite, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When they attack, it tears you apart.
Whoa. What?
So when the Spookies attack, it tears you apart.
It tears you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
it is.
That's a German tagline, and I
I
tried to change it to when they attack, they tear you apart, but that wasn't what was written on the thing. So anyway.
Wow. Ooh, well, those were a bunch of winners.
Yeah, that was horrible.
I did like the Spookies are coming.
And that's been
Taglines with Dad. Yay.
Yeah.
And there was much rejoicing.
Pleasure.
Yeah. You did the best you could, man.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You weren't working
now
with
to the
much.
posters, which, as Bill said,
that is cool. See, I've never even seen this. How is this possible?
I never even saw this in a VHS store.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Like
it's
video
so
rental
weird.
store. I've never saw this.
I like the poster.
Oh yeah, that's a Richard Corbin art right there. A large
and the thing
woman
is,
falling out of her clothes.
It actually happened in the movie. So
yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Not exactly her shape or dress, but it's close.
No. And the evil wizard kind of looks like Joel Grey from Cabaret. But it's still it's a great poster. I'd put that on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And that's on the Richard Corbin is the cover of the Blu-ray.
Well, yeah, why not?
Let's see, and then this one, the German one.
That's messy.
Yeah,
the killer monster.
Odd.
That killer monster.
The one on the middle right there looks like he's waiting for his proctologist to come.
You're right.
Yeah,
that really does look busy. That's just like put more lightning in it. Okay.
Yeah, and it's all the way to the edge, and like that's the worst design like ever. Yeah.
And they did this before Photoshop.
Then the Engreifen der Reisterstich.
Oh,
that was
sure.
Sounds fun.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Them's the posters. Well, so let's look. The leading. This is the wizard character.
Yeah.
I mean, he was fine.
Right.
Played by.
If I'm not wrong,
Felix Ward.
Wasn't this concrete tomb he was in?
Oh, it was cool how it had the.
But wasn't it doing it at the beginning of the movie too?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
What's that? I guess I'm asking stupid questions about a stupid movie, but
it doesn't matter. Like it was cool because
it's 80s.
Yeah, it's cool because I think that was clever the way it looked, how they had it being able to like move up and down, like the fabric. Yeah, like the fabric of Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff. I was like, that's actually
I like
cool.
that effect.
Reminded me of Phantasm a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the guy, too.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Creon. And he went on to do absolutely nothing. Like this is his only credit. Yeah.
That's too bad.
He's not terrible.
No, he's not terrible. Feels like he's in a different movie, which he is.
Okay, well then we also have Maria.
Why does that look like that thing is doing okay? Really?
Well, Maria Pachucas.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's Katukas.
Now she actually did go on to do other things. She recently passed away. She was pretty young. And I guess she met her husband somewhere and they made movies. He directed and she starred in them. She made a bunch of,
nice.
Well, not a whole lot. She didn't do a whole lot, but she did like a Carmilla movie. and one called "Do You Like Women?" So she basically, specialized in lesbian monster roles or something.
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah, but
and there was a geez, I wish I must have watched it too long ago. Might have been one of the extras, but somebody was talking about her and how much they liked her and what a sad deal it was, because once she got married, which was after this, he totally controlled her life.
Oh,
and
that's too bad.
wouldn't let her do anything. And every movie that he directed that she was in, she was nude. She was supposed to be nude in this one, but they wouldn't pay her a stipend for doing that. And
No,
I
good for
figured,
her.
I was like, this is taking for. Are they trying to rip off her clothes? Are they going to rip off all her clothes? Because I'm like, Jesus, this scene is like.
And usually this
Right.
kind of movie is loaded with nudity.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, she said, you're not paying me enough for that. I'd be glad to.
Yep.
That's what kind
Good
of
for her. Yeah.
Wow.
So
That little witch thing there, the little puppet there, looks good from the front only.
Mm-hmm.
From the
well, I
side,
thought that was a perfect example of it wasn't shot right.
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 There was times it seemed too stiff or even it just didn't look quite right. A couple shots were good, but some of the other ones were just wrong angles or something. It was but if you just look at the effect, just look at the thing, it's really well crafted and sculpted and put together.
Shouldn't be photographed from the side though.
No. You got to know how to shoot these effects. You can make the best looking monster. I mean, look at Rick Baker doing Octoman or something, but they're not always meant to be in the fullness of light, or you got to know a little bit about lighting and shooting. You got to listen to your cinematographer. But I guess this guy, he knew what lenses to put on the camera. Jeez.
He probably looked it up before he got there.
So, the guy that shot this has got a lot of cred too. Ken Kelch did the stuff from the original film, not the second. Top picture, which it's hard to get them, but that's the original group of people.
And the little
the
hand
only one
puppet.
you can't see is Peter Iasillo, who's got the hand puppet out from behind the column.
What was with the old dude?
Yeah, that's a good question. Even these actors,
It was
they
like
were
the
talking about
boyfriend
this.
of one of them, right?
They were interviewing a couple of those actors, and they were like, "It didn't make any sense. How the hell did we all get together? How did he end up with us?"
Yeah,
yeah.
And
well, I thought he was dating that girl, like
right.
I think he was, but he's like
it was
20 years older
as
than
far as the
that.
teenagers. But here's
oh, come on! I was 18 and I was dating someone who was 36.
Oh yeah.
It's not that crazy, I mean.
But he didn't seem. None of these people look like.
I will tell you that's way after the 80s. Okay,
breaking tropes. So
yeah.
And
then the English girl, like
who said she was 24. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
The one that
the one girl said,
even while she was scared to death.
The guy,
all these people. What?
Okay.
So the guy with her. Yes. I tried to kind of pair these up. Let me see if I did it. Yeah. So we had Nick and oh my God, wait a minute. Can you see it there? You can't really see it there. What the hell was he wearing? What was that shiny
what are you talking
fabric?
His village people.
Yeah.
Oh,
it wasn't leather. Yeah. It was like
it was pleather.
Shiny vinyl
leather.
Or something.
It was pleather. Yeah.
Just was very uncomfortable looking, I thought. And with
you got it on TV
zippers.
Oh, it was
really weird places,
Listen, don't judge us.
Big diagonal zippers across his chest. Oh,
somewhere someone has pictures from Washington University, 1983, 1984, New Wave night, and me wearing some stuff that if it ever gets released, I am going to live in the woods. And never show my face again, just to let you know.
Well,
that's your standard punk rock
outfit
he had on.
Yeah.
I had the little like padded I don't know, what do you call those?
Epaulets.
Shoulder epaulets that stick out.
Yeah, the nomads punk rockers. Yeah.
Now this shrinking face for Peter Iasillo was
I loved it. Cool. Yeah, I loved it. The old
Yeah.
Apparently he was exactly like his character that
Oh,
he
God help
was
us.
he was like that all the time. He was running around cracking everybody up and doing stuff with his puppet, and he carried that head around all the time. And anyway,
Or he was just annoying. I mean,
yeah, a little goes.
well, they all said he was the funniest. He was funny and really lightened up the set.
All right.
So,
Well, there you go.
you know. Plus, he I'm trying to think. I think he died in 2017.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
He shouldn't have done that.
And then the girl in
Yeah.
the turquoise there, Joan Ellen Delaney, is
Kinda
Linda
liked
Duke's girlfriend.
Did she go on to do anything? Let's see.
I don't know. I was too busy thinking about one of the
Nope.
people in the interview.
Oh,
a woman.
her. Yes, I wanted to say something about her. She's in Igor and the Lunatics, and this. Is great.
Yes.
There's a movie called
that was
Dead End. Have you heard about this? Dead End. Now, there's a few movies called Dead End. This is from 1985.
yeah, that's from like.
If anyone out there in Decades of Horrorland, by any chance, has a copy of that movie, you have a holy grail, because even the filmmakers no longer have it. It never got released. He made like 100 copies, gave it to all the people, and then later on wanted to release it and can't find it. So this has become a movie that people talk about. There's actually been short movies made about people looking for this missing movie. Dead End. It was most famous for, they actually used real blood in some of the scenes that they got from a blood bank, and everybody got sick.
I was about to say that is the stupidest fucking thing you could do because of disease.
Yeah,
Jesus.
well,
Like,
you
look,
know.
like what they thought they were being edgy or something. It's gonna look so real. Yeah, it is, but
so that's where there's some so Igor and the Lunatics, Lloyd Kaufman is listed as executive producer. Does that mean it was a trauma?
Trauma, probably, yeah.
It probably got picked up for trauma.
And then the two directors of the original film for Spookies, Thomas Doran and Brendan Faulkner, were second unit directors on Igor and the Lunatics.
Oh, cool.
So Dead End. Look for Dead End.
Find it. Oh my God. That'd be the greatest thing if we could find that movie and be the first people to review it.
It's got a 7.3 rating in IMDb. Is that because nobody's seen it? Or 166 ratings.
There's one review that claims that he saw it at a friend's house years ago and no one else ever seems to have heard of it. But, you know, it's one of those things. I think if anyone has it, if they still have a copy of it, and who knows if any exists now, they don't realize that they have something that people are actually actively searching for. I'm sure Vinegar Syndrome or somebody would love, because it's reached this legendary status. The director is actually someone who's done some cool things, and he just totally lost track of this film.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's the only three things that she did, Joan Ellen Delaney.
She was likable.
What I was going to say, I hope this isn't too politically incorrect, although I don't know that we're too worried about that. A woman that worked on the crew, and I think maybe it was, I'm not going to say until I look it up, but a woman that was on the crew was interviewed, and she said she was quite voluptuous, and in fact, the crew had names for her breasts and referred to them as Huey and Louie.
Huey and Louie.
And that she was good-natured and went right along with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
That was probably the V, you know. I would assume Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Yeah, gotcha. That's what I would think, probably.
I did want to mention
HR wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
Again.
She goes, I don't know if I should say this. She's in front of a camera.
Just between us.
Anyway.
Nobody else.
So this Nick Gianta, who plays Duke, was also in Street Trash and Killer Dead. Yeah, so the guy, I don't know who she is, Kim Merrill, played Megan. She's in Terror Vision. That's it. Terror Vision, Spookies, and that's it. And in Terror Vision, she plays a nurse.
I haven't seen Terror Vision in ages.
Years, yeah.
It is on our request list. Peter Dane, also Killer Dead, Igor and the Lunatics, and Spookies. We're getting a trend here.
Yeah.
He was the old guy, as they all said. Peter Iasillo, he's got 39 credits, right up through like 2018. But stuff like Flesh for the Beast, Tsukiko's Curse. He jokingly said that if there's a homeless guy in a movie, to look close because it's probably him. And if you look down his credits, there's like half a dozen homeless men.
That's funny. This movie was not a launching pad to greater things for most folks. Except for the special effects people.
So Peter Iasillo was that says Elevator Zombie or Tip O'Neill Zombie in Day of the Dead. Does that ring a bell?
Not really.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Hey, I'm going to see Day of the Dead tomorrow night.
Oh, cool. Lucky.
That's fun.
Theater. They all talked very lovingly of this guy. And I don't know. Who did we mention? Charlotte Alexandra, who was billed as Charlotte Seeley. I think you mentioned her bill, but she was in an Emmanuel movie in 77. So had done some stuff in Europe. Those are the guys that were really in the movie. Oh, and then the girl that played I called her the Ouija board demon. She was in Spookies, Dead End, and Dangerous Love. That's crazy. How would you like 2 of your 3 credits to be Dead End and Spookies? 2 movies that.
Well, you got some stories to tell at least. Oh well.
Yeah, they kind of pulled these out, and in fact, a fair amount. Like Gabe Bartalos played one of the Muck Men, and in fact, they said he was. They filmed that scene on Halloween in 1984, and so he wore the Muck Man costume to a Halloween party.
You're talking about the basement dirt floor farting monster?
Yeah, they called him Muck Men.
Oh.
They were not supposed to fart. They were aghast about that.
I literally spit my drink out when they started farting. I could not control my laughter. It was so hilarious. But that's just me. Scatological humor is my kryptonite.
Now, Al Magliochetti, who played the guy that gets sucked down into the grave at the beginning, early on, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's actually an effects guy. He's got 94 visual effects credits. Nice. Stuff like Sharknado 5.
Oh, that's nice. Asylum.
Yeah, I saw something else. Bad Biology.
That was good.
Some of these guys worked on. I think Gabe Bartalos worked with Henenlotter, I think, too, for some reason. I saw something else. I thought 2001 Maniacs. Skinned Deep, which was, I think that was directed by Gabe Bartalos. All right, that's the cannon fodder. Now let's go to monsters.
Yeah.
The blue on that kid cracks me up. So I got to be honest with you. I was shocked at how they killed the kid. I did not think it was going to happen, actually. I feel like it was such an unusual take of the fact that the way that they did it. And how I was like, oh, okay, well, they're going there. They went there.
And that was it. Yep. He's gone. When this blue kid showed up, Shauna was like, is that the kid who was killed by the cat guy in the beginning? It was like, I don't know. I thought
it was.
Wait, no, it wasn't. It was the wizard's son.
It's the wizard's son.
I thought he brought him back as that kid.
Maybe.
Like, that's why, because he's taking their souls to be able to bring these people back, like the wife and that's what he's been doing. Yeah.
Now, see, you've been doing more writing than
and he says he expanded their family.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
Is it the same actor?
I don't know about that.
It is not.
No, it's not.
That's totally it's not really shocking.
But when you first see him and he's running along the edge of the woods, he's like It's just
Weird.
somebody directed him.
That middle picture is very Evil Dead 2-esque.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
Carol.
and in fact, that was one of the things that these guys said that Michael Lee told them he wanted something just like Evil Dead. But the video nasties craze is over. So go easy on the blood and the sex and no zombies. But then when he takes over the picture, he adds a buttload of zombies chasing the wizards. Anyway, I like the bottom picture too. I like what she kind of morphed into.
It kind of reminds me of what was the Frank Henlotter movie with the
Brain Dead?
Yes, Brain Dead.
Yeah.
At the end of Brain Dead. So yeah, it's a cool shot.
That may have inspired that, as a matter of fact.
Now, though I think the witch looks good, the one criticism I would have, a lot of the makeup was really well sculpted and well applied and everything, but it was just too clean.
Yeah. Yeah. When they shot it, it was much too light and it was too fixed. There was no, I don't know. I don't know if they needed more edits or I don't know. I'm with you. It looked great. And I thought, why doesn't it look better? I mean, which is kind of a weird thing to say, I guess. But and then here we go.
There they are.
I mean, that middle one is
pork and
my
beans.
least favorite, but yeah.
Well, that's the one that got really lit the worst. I mean, you could see the
Yeah.
bodysuit underneath the ribs,
Yeah.
and when the mouth would open, you could see the black mesh from the mask underneath.
I mean, it looked cool, but it just looked like something from, like a spook house.
Yeah.
You go and
Yeah.
that would be,
Well,
that'd
it
be
looks
pretty
like I actually have a Grim Reaper that looks very similar to that in my front yard for Halloween. So it reminds me of
Crystal,
that a lot.
doesn't that look like a prop that they'd have at the horror track at Dragon Con, standing
Yeah.
behind the panelists, you know?
Actually, no, those do look better than this.
They do look
Actually,
better, that's true. Netherworld. I think it's
but
Netherworld
yeah,
that does that. Yeah,
Netherworld,
they're very good.
But that one is my least favorite. And he gets knocked out like a bitch too.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
come
he
on.
falls off a balcony and
That was-
explodes
that
like a
was
Yugo or
awful.
something. I don't know what that's all about.
Yep.
Poopy twins up there.
The poop twins, yeah.
Yeah, and they were easily dispatched.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Well, like most
all
monsters,
you need
they
is air
dissolve in
freshener.
wine.
Yep.
Spray him with air fresh.
Yep.
Oh God.
I'm melting.
Now the bottom one is the spider lady, and
Yeah.
I think that's the first. There's 4 stages or 3 stages.
Which is
that
pretty
are not-
impressive that they bothered to do multiple stages.
Yeah, that didn't
I mean, that
morph.
dude was so stupid though. Come
Yeah,
on.
yes.
Like you saw her with her eyes. You saw the cobwebs, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing, dude? We all know she's a spider lady.
Listen, guy, if you look like the way
Look.
he looks and a moderately attractive woman invites you to, follow her. No, don't. Come on. There's no scenario where this ends well. Dude.
All right, and Monsters 3. Oh, and that's not it either. I'll see if I can pull that picture up.
The picture on the bottom, the detail on that spider creature, the
Yeah,
articulation and everything is really quite good.
He said that I think it was Guastino worked on that, and he said that they even had film of the eyes blinking. It had the 8 eyes around the mouth.
Oh wow!
And that's not in the movie. He doesn't know why it's not in the movie. They all thought it looked great.
They needed time for another shot of that girl being chased by the zombies.
Yeah. Well, when they did that worm thing too, that eats the one guy's face, and they see it when they roll him over.
Yeah.
They had build up a subfloor. They build up floor up like 2.5 feet, and had puppeteers underneath working that thing. So Thomas Doran and Brendan Faulkner just they had a vision.
Double vision.
They made a deal with the devil.
Yep. It never works out.
Anyway. So that's where, if you look, there's a lot of double names in there, you know, like cinematography, Robert Chappell and Ken Kelch. I assume Robert Chappell was after Ken Kelch left.
Hey, you know, it was a cool shot and also very Evil Dead-esque when the dead girl's face dissolves.
Mhm.
That was
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
I
a
like
great
that.
shot.
Stop motion
Mhm.
dissolve. Yeah. There was a lot of Evil
He
Dead,
did.
I thought.
He was a cinematographer for Bad Lieutenant.
Hmm.
Ken
Harvey
Kelch.
Keitel.
Yep.
Ugh.
Was in the camera department on Last House on the Left.
Oh.
Oh.
So he's got a long career in horror. Killer Dead. He was mixed in with a lot of these same guys. Anyway, Driller Killer, which was another.
Mhm.
He was the DP on Driller Killer, which was a big video nasty.
Okay, don't say DP on Driller Killer. Okay. No. Mm-mm. No.
Okay.
No. Oh my God. Oh
Director
my God.
of photography. All right. I don't know. What
Sorry,
else? Do we want to talk about anything
Okay.
here? I think
Okay.
I blathered on plenty about the history of this thing. I just was shocked.
Oh, we've talked about
Chris.
we've talked about the career of this cast more than anyone has in the history of time.
That's
So
a fact.
Jeff
They
just trying to justify the fact that he bought the Blu-ray.
Oh, it was stunning. It was stunning.
I almost want to see
This
it
is
now.
true, sir.
Well, I looked at it. There was 2 discs, and you know how sometimes there'll be like a DVD and a Blu-ray. That's what I thought it was. So I watched the movie, and I'm looking for the commentary, and there isn't any. I'm like, what the hell? Then I look at the other disc, and it's, oh, this is the extras. And not only do they have the documentary, they have a commentary of the documentary. Which I
Wow.
don't know. What in the world?
This is the part where we talk about the movie right here.
Yeah. All right. I think we're done, right? Are we done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Spookies.
Yeah.
So Spookies has a storied history, and it's kind of fun after I knew what the hell went on to watch it and see how they cut in. They cut back and forth between the little kid and the car of teenagers and the cat guy and the wizard, you know, but never the twain shall meet, right?
Yeah.
The cat
Fun
guy.
movie.
Cat guy. See, at first when I saw the cat guy, admittedly, I thought it was supposed to be a werewolf. But then he says kitty. He calls it kitty or
Yeah, you
something.
could
I
hear
was
him
like,
purring.
oh,
He purred
That's
in a couple
weird.
of scenes. So
Oh, one other thing. The mansion was the John Jay estate.
okay. And let's be real. It was super hilarious how they go up to this place and they're like, no one definitely lives here. Looks like a turd. No, it was not even close to being that bad, y'all. It wasn't even hardly dirty.
Right.
But it was not being used at that time.
Oh, I believe that.
It was like in this limbo between who owns it, who's going to keep it up, is the family, is a historical society, you know. I think the family was trying to sell it because it cost too much to keep it up. And in the end, it says that the heirs sold it to the Westchester County Historical Society for $15 million. And it was restored over the years and is now part of the New York Historical Parks and Sites.
I read something that the filmmakers were told they could mess it up all they wanted because they were actually hoping that they could just tear this place down.
They did tell them that.
That's a hell of an opportunity. And I have actually been in that position. One of the first movies I was ever involved with was an abandoned house, and we were told, do what you like, because we're going to give it to the fire department to burn down as one of their, things to work with to get some practice. But then right before they were going to do it, they discovered there was an underground well with old oil in it, and they decided not to burn down Sanford by setting this place on fire. So then we had to go and try to clean it up.
Why wouldn't they just tear it down? They'd have to tear it down still, though, to get.
It's still there. I mean, it's still there. It's buried under brambles now, but it's still there. Weird. Yeah.
Well, and if you aren't familiar with it, John Jay was the first Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Interesting.
All right. Yes.
Yes.
That's Spookies.
I think that's it. That's Spookies. It's on Shudder.
You've been warned.
I'm going to say it one more time. It was kind of fun to watch it once I knew what was going on, but realized that Billy at the beginning, the cat guy, the little kid in the brown robe, the wizard, and the wizard's wife are not part of the original story.
That's insane, because that is the whole story.
Well, they turned that into the story, and then they cut out what was the story, which was the Ouija board.
Yeah. Them coming from the, yeah, which they couldn't do, but they still
they I think they still had the story, and I think they did, according to the one of the interviews, a woman made these. I forget how she did it, but she made these like cutouts of these demons that were kind of intricate. If you go back and look at them, I'm sure you'll want to do this, Chad, on the Ouija board. That they would like peel them off, and it would show that they were gone. Well, what happened to that? And that would be the Grim Reaper was one of them, and the snake thing was another one, and the Spider Woman was another one, I think. So
they were cool little decals. I guess that's what they were.
All right, that was their cheap way of trying to do that effect. All right, well, it must be time for feedback. Yay!
This is probably my favorite part.
Well, let's start with Crystal.
Okay. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. James Wormsley. Yes, Queen. Yes, Queen. There you go.
He's applauding twice or something, or doing that, yeah.
Oh, I couldn't figure out what those were.
Two little hands.
Yes. It's like basically worship. Yes, Queen. Kind of thing, yeah.
All right. I feel like I should have Crystal read all of these because it was her picks. Or not necessarily her picks. Episode 252, Pin, Bill, from Eleanor C.
Eleanor C. Hey guys, great review. I've never heard of this movie, but I watched it on your recommendation and really enjoyed it. Bill is right. We're going to stop right there.
Yeah,
I don't think we should.
Bill is right.
Bill is right. This is one messed up family. You really don't know if the father or the mother were worse. By the end of the movie, your heart breaks for Ursula. I think there is a significant time jump between Ursula attacking Pin with the axe and her talking to Pin Leon at the end, since Stan is not only recovered, but they also got married at some point. So Leon could have been locked up in some institution for a time before being released. Also, there was a caretaker or nurse in the house who talked to Ursula before she went in, so he isn't left completely on his own. P.S. Another reason I watched this movie is because I'm off to Comic-Con Prague, where Prague. Oh, yeah. Prague. I'm an American. Where David Hewlett is a guest along with a couple of his Stargate Atlantis colleagues. I'm tempted to ask how creepy was Pin in real life. He'll probably appreciate getting a question about that. Yeah,
I would love that. Yeah. I hope. Did you? And if
I hope she did.
Yeah,
I do too. I bet they never hear about that.
This explains a lot because I don't know if you remember, but Eleanor C. wrote in one time about the definition of a Polish title on a poster, I think, or something Polish, and she must live in Poland, dude.
Probably near Prague.
More sense.
Prague is the southernmost part of Prague.
I'm sorry, Bill. I didn't mean to correct you.
No. Thank God, I would keep doing it. I know there's nothing. I know Prague. I've said
Pin was a pleasant surprise, Crystal. We enjoyed it.
I'm so glad.
I'm sorry you weren't here for it.
Episode 255, Beastmaster, Chad.
Dizzy Dream writes us and says of the movie Beastmaster, the writing on that second image is Japanese because it contains this character.
I think he's one of the posters, right? There was a poster. We weren't sure if it was Japanese or Chinese or what it was.
But it's sort of like a dead sperm. That's what it looks like.
It does, kind of. Or a live one swimming in circles.
It's something.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Thanks for agreeing with me, Jeff.
Okay.
Neither
can't.
Korean or Chinese have that in their written language. So one way that talking to animals and fish could be beneficial, that I hope someday someone will make a movie about it, that is that animals have way better senses than we do. They process information like smells and scent and hear farther than we do. And I'd really like to see a hero use that. There actually is a superhero called Animal Man who
That's right.
can do all that stuff. Certain animals can feel things underneath the ground. Orcas have their own language and songs, and they communicate from a large distance and have a variety of strategy they use to hunt that is different within each pod. Birds have an internal GPS. I feel like that could be so useful, but I hardly ever see movies use that in themes where there is a character that talks to animals. I hope I do someday. Animals are incredible at processing a variety of information that is normally reserved for superheroes in movies. I'd like to think someone who can talk to them would be able to tap into that too and use that to help themselves or others. This was a fun watch. Thank y'all.
That's
You're
a
welcome.
nice.
Thank you, Dizzy Drink.
Yeah.
Which makes me think of
Yeah.
baseball for some reason.
Dizzy Dean.
Yeah. I think what they're saying is they wanted somebody who could talk to animals, who could give them that information, not that had those animal powers.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Well, but I mean, like he uses the eagle to like view, but he mainly just uses his stuff for viewing. He's like a, yeah.
Okay. And then Crystal
Yes.
from Gregory Crosby on Beastmaster.
Rip Torn. I have to give 2 more shout outs. His role as Artie on the Larry Sanders Show. I've never seen it, but I've heard it was incredible. And his hilarious turn as Bob Diamond in Albert Brooks's Defending Your Life. Haven't seen that either. I apologize. If it's not horror, I pretty much don't watch it. As for Beastmaster, I'm with Jeff's comment. I got tired of watching him stare at animals. I could never get tired of staring at animals.
I did say that. I did.
I love Rip Torn.
I do too.
Yeah, I like
He was hilarious in the Larry Sanders Show.
Everyone tells me I should watch it.
Yeah,
It's like
I
I
should watch
just have
that,
too much
yeah.
other stuff to watch, but yeah, I've heard it's excellent.
Episode 256, House, also from Gregory Crosby. Bill, you want to take that one?
Sure. Gregory Crosby says, in 1987, I worked the graveyard shift at a video store in Vegas. At midnight, I would throw on a screwball comedy from the 30s, but by 2 or 3 a.m., it was time for a horror movie, and House was always in heavy rotation, mostly because of the cast, Richard Mall's second finest hour, and its weird, cartoonish, not particularly scary vibe. Even at 3 a.m, someone might have complained if we were watching the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Crystal, go watch Hollywood Boulevard. And I agree. And, you know, it's a classic movie, but you will enjoy it.
Wait.
Sunset-
That was a
Sunset
movie.
Boulevard?
Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset
Sorry.
Boulevard,
Whoops.
yeah.
Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah, that's another movie. Sunset
I will
Boulevard
watch
is a
Sunset
horror
Boulevard.
movie. It really
Okay,
is.
I'll watch it.
It's narrated by a
Sunset.
corpse, and it's got some of the scariest. Yeah, you got to watch it. It's great.
It's and that's the reason he brought that up is because you hadn't seen you didn't know who
Anything with
William
William
Holden was.
Yeah.
So this has Gloria Swanson.
Oh, 1950?
William Holden.
Yeah.
Yep.
The poster looks cool.
It's a classic.
If you like,
There's a scene at the end where she says, "Ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille."
Miss
Yeah, that's where
Course,
it
I
came
know
from
that
for me,
line.
or used to
I
be.
like. I have said that line, and I feel bad now that I haven't seen the film,
It's
but I've
good.
used that line, so I'm a
This
poser.
movie is has won 3 Oscars. So anyway.
Okay. That.
All right.
That.
Thank
all
you,
right.
Gregory. We appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank
Greg.
you, Gregory.
And then where am I at? Chad, Jose on House.
Jose says, yet another, I'm sure you're all astonished that the DVD is beckoning me from the shelf. I saw this as a junior in high school on VHS. I liked and like it, but I haven't seen it in years. My father used to love it and always called it Ding Dong, You're Dead,
Me too.
knowing full well that wasn't its title.
I did too. Because I was like, you mean Ding Dong, you're
I like
dead?
my wife.
Ding Dong, you're dead. So funny.
My wife, Linda, has her own sort of nicknames for shows. Like she can't remember the real name of the show, so she comes up with a nickname for it, and that's what it's forever called. I just have to learn.
Well, like as a kid, I thought that was hilarious. Ding dong, you're dead. I mean, it's funny, right? Like it's super funny. House is kind of boring.
Well, it is, and it's a takeoff of Wizard of Oz too. Ding dong, the witch is dead.
Yep.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jose, Gregory, Dizzy Dream, Eleanor C. I hope you had fun at the Comic-Con in Prague.
I hope you got to talk to David Hewlett.
And hope you got to talk to David Hewlett. Let us know.
Yeah.
Sure. And James Wormsley, thanks for applauding Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
All right. And there's plenty of ways to stay in touch. The easiest way for us to follow your comments is if you leave feedback or if you leave comments on the Gruesome Magazine YouTube channel. You can also send emails to feedback@gruesomemagazine.com or check us out on the Gruesome Magazine's H&R and DOH podcast Facebook group. You can make comments there. Also, we have Patreon members. For a small fee, you get Decades of Horror a couple weeks before it goes live, usually a day or two after it's recorded. And coming up, we are going to do a series on 70s on each episode of Kolchak the Night Stalker. It is the 50th anniversary. There's only 20 episodes. We're going to do one every 2 weeks, but those are going to be Patreon only. So if you want to check those out, visit us there.
Secret podcasts.
Yeah. I should say this, but I assume they will go live sometime to everybody. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for this episode. But every 2 weeks, we'll be focusing on a specific film released between 1980 and 1989. Next up, we tackle one chosen by moi.
Uh-oh.
And I chose Just Before Dawn, 1981. Kind of a little, I would say it's a little known slasher type film starring George Kennedy. And,
you'll know when you get the Blu-ray in the mail.
Also,
yep.
It's not. It doesn't exist. I already looked.
Of course you did. Of course.
Right now, the only place I can find it is on Wicked Horror TV. So
wait, what's okay?
It's on. Who else is in that? Jack Lemmon's son is also in there.
Chris Lemmon.
Yes.
This would be interesting. I made a movie with one of the writers of this movie.
Oh, cool.
Jonas Middleton.
It's pretty good. And one of our viewers has recommended it. I think Robert Baker recommended it on a list. And at the time that he recommended it, I couldn't find it anywhere. So kudos to Play Now Media and Wicked Horror TV. So check us out for that. And please leave comments. We love comments. You heard Crystal say it's her favorite part of the show. Even if you don't care about us, we need to keep Crystal happy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's sweet.
So catch us again here in 2 weeks for another great horror movie of the 1980s, as only Decades of Horror can do it.
Yes.
Thank you, Chad, Crystal, and Bill, and say goodnight.
Thank you, Jeff. Good night.
Good night, folks.
Good night.